Hello, hello, it's a wrap here, back at it with another book review. Let's get into it. Okay, y'all, so today I'm here with a juicy book review. This is definitely going to be spoilers galore because I don't feel like I can really talk about this book without spoiling it. But today we are talking about Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo. Um, and this book, when did this book come out? I believe it came out in 2018, 2019, 2017. So this book came out in 2017. This was a book that I actually saw another booktuber talk about that they really loved, and I decided to pick it up and give it a try. The storyline sounded super interesting. I decided to read this after I had read His Only Wife because it doesn't really deal with the same themes, but it does have some multiple wife issues going on. And I think His Only Wife was based in Ghana, and Stay With Me is based in Nigeria. It's going between the years of 1985 to 2008. So this is a story of Yejide and Akin. And they both are like university sweethearts. They get married, and 4 years into their marriage, they still don't have any children. So Akin's mother pushes him to marry a second wife in order to conceive children, and a whole bunch of stuff like goes on in this story after that. It's going between the past and the present. So the past is, Yejide and Akin are unable to conceive a child, and the present is, at this point, Yejide and Akin are no longer together. They're separated, but they're finally coming back together because it's not Yejide. Akin's father has died. So yes, this book was one. I think it was really eloquently written while also being like a messy, emotional roller coaster. That's the best way I can describe it. One, gosh, how do I feel about Yejide? Um, she's just like, so much is going on. You feel really bad for her as a character because there's this pressure for her to conceive a child, and it starts to get to her head, and she starts to like lose her mind. She has a phantom ghost pregnancy where she goes to see a witch doctor, and she thinks that after visiting this witch doctor that she's pregnant, and she has this ghost pregnancy, and like her belly blows up, and she's having all these symptoms that she is pregnant. But when she goes to the doctor, they're like, girl, you are not pregnant and you need to see a psychiatrist. So she's losing her mind. And in the midst of that, like, Akin's mother is pressuring her and keeps saying that like, you need to have a child, or you guys need to bring like another woman into this relationship who was able to conceive a child, because she like really needs her grandchildren. um and it's really getting to Day, because we get in the beginning of the book that she never wants to. She wants to be in a monogamous relationship with her husband. She does not want any type of she doesn't want to partake in any type of polygamy. So she's really blindsided when Akin's mother brings Funami into the picture. Hey y'all, this is Editing Yuri, and I did not realize that the whole time I was saying the second wife's name wrong. It's Funmi, not Funami. Um, yeah, so I know I say it a couple more times. Just humor me because I'm not going back and re-recording. I'm too deep in. So apologies in advance. Um, and also on top of like that storyline, there's also um spoilers galore, just spoilers galore. They do end up conceiving a child. So they have their first child, who blah, 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 blah. See, I should have got names. Their first child who doesn't end up like living for long. And it's actually like a what happens is Yejide like steps away from the child for a moment, and when she comes back, the child has died. And from what I'm understanding, it seems like that the child probably was dealing with sickle cell, so she probably walked away from the child while she, and something was happening with sickle cells, but she didn't know that her child had sickle cell, so she like carries this regret of not watching the the child as closely as she could, and the baby ends up passing away. And then she ends up getting pregnant again. Um, and this child, um, is I believe Seisan. Seisan. So Seisan, he like grows to be, I think, like in like to kindergarten. To like, if it's not kindergarten, like he grows up, and when they go to the doctor, Yejide learns that, in fact, the child has sickle cell anemia. And then also, when she finds this out, the doctor also finds out. He's like, and tells Akin, like, hey, the baby has sickle cell anemia, but you don't have sickle cell, and both parents have to be carriers of sickle cell in order to conceive a child with sickle cell. So he was like, you are not the father of this child. And Akin is so upset. But then we learn that, in fact, the past two children are not, Akin is aware that the past two children are not his, and that is, in fact, his brother's child, who he has asked to sleep with Yejide in order to like conceive children because of the pressure. And he knows that the reason that they aren't they're unable to carry a child is because it is in fact him who is, what's the best word? I want to say impotent, but like he's unable to like, you know to yeah, to procreate. And he's been known this since like they've gotten together. And this is also a question I had while reading the book. I was like, how did I mean, they explained that Yejide is a virgin, so she never really understood like her first sexual encounter was with Akin, so she doesn't have any conception of any other type of sexual encounter. But I was just so like, because it made it seem like he was unable to like um to like to show like to be aroused, like it's that seemed like that was what was going on. And I was like, if that was the case, how were they being sexually active? And she always made it seem like they never had, I don't think they ever were sexually active with one another. Like we never explained how they are intimate with one another, so that's why I was confused. I was like, how did she not know? Because we then learn in the book that like Funami dies in the book, and we learn that they die because Akin and her are having an argument, and she like brings up the fact that, hey, I know that you're the reason that Yejide is unable to have a child, and I know that I will never be able to have a child, and that really like upsets him. But then I'm also like, so how does the mama not know? And what happens if the mama knows? Because like he had the mom coming and like pressuring and annoying Yejide this whole time, knowing that he's the reason why. Like, why are you having your mom bug this poor woman when you know you're the reason why you guys will never have children? Um, so yeah, so that happens, and then that the second child actually ends up dying from sickle cell. And at this point, like Yejide has had enough. Like she's just really like over it. Like she's just so tired of losing her children. She feels like she's cursed. And I'm like, it kind of makes me hate Akim because it's like she's losing her mind, and she feels like she's like this cursed woman who is unable to like conceive like a healthy child, which it has really nothing to do with her. Like it's really like it's really the man that the brother and like granted the love of her life, Akin, who have all these like problems, which is another thing. It's a whole conversation about like, I mean, we don't like, there's so much pressure again on the woman and like their reproductive health. And we don't really talk about men and their reproductive health and like us both getting checked out and learning like what each of us bring health wise to the table when it's time to conceive a child. And also, but then again, I'm like, it's none of his mother's business. And it's so annoying because you're like, you don't even know like what's going on health wise. You don't know why she's unable to conceive, and then you kind of like her womanhood is under question, which I don't like because she's unable to conceive. Like she's not a woman, she's a man. Like if you can't have a child, like I think literally in the book, which I should have highlighted, but literally in the book the mother was all like, if you're unable to conceive, you are just a man. Like this, like to be a woman is to be able to procreate, which is like I felt so bad for like I understand why she's losing her mind and why it's so hard for her. And you really like I cried in the book. Like I just felt so bad. Um and it's crazy like by the end what happens where the last child who we think is dead, but in fact that she's not, and they like decades, like I believe that she has the baby in like 1992, 1993, and in like 2008, at the funeral she finally meets her daughter, her last born Fotimi, who she thinks has died as well, but in fact she hasn't. She just like once she hears, because Akin takes the baby to Lagos, and like she ends up running a fever and he doesn't know what to do because like war or a coup is like breaking out in Lagos, and people are fighting in the streets, and Akin's like, he calls the other day, and he's like, I don't know what to do. And she was all like, I can't take this, like I can't take losing another child. And she just disappears because like she'd rather not hear again that she has lost a child. So she just falls off the face of the earth. And then after decades, she gets a call and she learns that her child is in fact still alive, like has not died. And then she feels so much regret because she spent so much time with this child. And maybe I have to think about this more. Maybe like, yeah, I need to sit with this book more because I'm like, what was I supposed to get from that ending? I don't know. I still don't know. Um, so I think I have to like sit with it a little bit more. But overall, it was another page turner, another book that I read like in 2 nights. I feel like the more I sit with it, the higher I'll rate this. But right now, it's giving a smooth 3.5. There was just times where I felt like it was like really lagging, and like I'm still trying to see the connection, like because it's based in like mainly the 80s, early 90s, where there is a lot of like turmoil in Nigeria politically, and I don't know, just the tie between them. Like I'm trying to find the connection, and maybe I have to think about it a little bit more. And then once I do, and I really read into the book, it will be a higher rating. But right now it's 3.5. I will recommend it if you're looking for some African literature. I've been reading a lot more African literature, especially since last year. But yeah. And also, one another thing I really liked was there was a lot of like Yoruba in in the book. Yeah, I just felt like it really set like the tone of where um the book is placed. So yeah, that was my review. Let me know if you've read Stay With Me and how you feel about this book. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.